Bonjour. No, we're not doing that again.
No, we're not doing that.
Never.
So I say good day, man. I put in a little bit of time in Assassin's Creed 3 on the Wii U yesterday.
Shall?
Tell you what, man. All my days, I can't believe what you're on about in that review. The protagonist is amazing. Oh my god, he's such a legend. He's like James Bond and Ezio combined. I'm so glad you get to play as him for the whole game. That's awesome.
That is in the review. That is like he is.
I thought you said the protagonist was some like boring Anakin style like Native American guy. Like that doesn't seem to be the case. He seems to be some legendary. Oh god, I'm deluding myself.
Sharp meets Hornblower.
I'm deluding myself. Meets fucking James Bond. He's amazing.
He is amazing.
He's actually amazing. Why isn't the game about him? He is absolutely awesome.
No, the game is.
I prefer him to Ezio even.
Like,
He's just
the game is
staggeringly
about
brilliant.
him. It's all about him.
Oh my god! I'm so glad.
Yeah, it's
also
also
so glad.
It's only him.
Yep.
There is this sort of extended epilogue that happens to last for about 6 times as long as the main game.
Yeah, I've heard it's a really tight and well directed 5-hour game.
We're more at 3 really. It's a really tight like nautical bond.
Hell yeah! Like you just start the game freaking jumping around the freaking opera house and shit, and just like wrecking up some guys in a fortress and stuff. And like, oh wow, and making wise cracks all the while. He's so great.
He's so great.
Probably a Templar, but so great. It's so awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
Like that's the game.
That's the game. I'm so up for it.
I cannot wait for the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, just the director's cut that is just the freaking Haytham Chronicles.
The Kenway Chronicles.
Classic, yeah.
Haytham
Kenway.
At your service.
Man.
Yes, that's a line. That's like James Bond, but nautical and better and with a hat.
It's just so great. He just wrecks up. He just gets bored on a ship, so he goes and just wrecks up some sailors. It's like,
they were threatening me.
I'm not afraid of you, and it's just like, you should be. It's fucking bam, grab your knife. It's like, yeah, boy. But yeah, he's still probably a Templar though. That's my guess at the moment. I haven't got past his bit yet. To get on to, he hasn't had sex with an Indian yet.
You haven't had that mini game.
I assume that's what's going to happen. Like, but I don't. Man,
I don't want to spoil it for you because obviously on the Wii U that particular scene will be visceral and involving.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like stroking here and like double touching the.
It's really not it's a resistive touchscreen, so no multi-touch for you, and B, like Ubisoft just haven't really used the touchscreen very much. It's just that you can only basically use it for inventory management, and otherwise it just displays a very helpful on-screen map.
That is quite helpful.
It's actually pretty good. They haven't bothered putting in loads and loads of touch stuff. It's just makes the game experience slightly more convenient.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's like not a bad thing.
No. I mean, we've been heavily critical of games that have basically tried to shoehorn in unique hardware features. That's kind of one of my biggest things about Uncharted on the Vita is the fact that it sort of had to use absolutely everything.
Yep. No,
just let it be a game.
Zombie U uses absolutely everything. I like the fact that you don't start out as you're not a noob. You don't start out as a noob. You start out as just fucking literally James Bond. and that's fine.
Do you know what's worse though? I hate to. This isn't really a spoiler, but when you get to the extended epilogue, that sort of 30-hour epilogue, he will pop up again, just to remind you how much of an awesome character you could have been.
I can't get my head around it. Like, and he's so British and great.
You see, is that the thing? Do we just think he's great because he's no,
because he's really incredibly charismatic. He's incredibly charismatic. I despair honestly at not having to play as Haytham. in any game. Oh,
I'm looking forward to your appraisal of Connor. I think you'll find him to be a scintillating personality. That didn't last long. Right, Game Buzz. Buzz. Music, go! Hello, and welcome to episode 12 of Game Buzz. I'm joined here once again by Carl Phillips.
Hello.
And Jonathan Lester.
Hi there.
And we're here to rip apart the sort of paucity of news. Because we're coming to the end of the year. We said this last week. We're coming to the end of the year. There haven't been a huge amount of new stuff happening as people sort of gear up for Christmas. But there have been one or two interesting things to pick out from the mill this week. I want to go back, first of all, to the THQ Humble Bundle, which we covered briefly at the end of last week. Because there's been, in the interim, like, it got announced. We asked maybe if it was a sign of desperation, perhaps. But interestingly, the backlash has been sort of almost directed at sort of THQ and Humble Bundle. The idea that the Humble Bundle started out as an indie-related thing, and now big publishers are getting him, or a big publisher has gotten involved, and this is terrible, and the world is ending. Do we think that? I'm not sure I think that.
I don't know whether it's an issue or not, really. I mean, it's not like they're in particularly good standing as they are at the moment anyway, so why not try and make a few quid out of a bunch of games that nobody apparently bought in the first place, because that's how they got in that situation originally.
I think people have been running against the sort of fact like the Humble Bundle got set up as this sort of torchlight for indie games.
Yeah.
Sort of like trendsetter for indie games, and now a big publisher's gotten involved. It's suddenly a bad thing. But I think that's people being a little bit too precious.
Yeah, I think it's the whole. I don't know whether I want to compare people who buy Humble Bundle to hipsters, but it's kind of like it's our little thing and they're unknown titles and blah 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 blah. If anything, people haven't bought the THQ games, and therefore the Humble Bundle is getting out there to say, actually, THQ do all right games, not brilliant games, not like ones that sell millions, but they're good games. You should give them a go, especially for a £5 or £10 or whatever the average is up to now. It's getting them aware. That's what I think the bundle is about at its core. It's getting people aware about games they wouldn't necessarily have done, and giving a bit of money towards a good cause in the process.
I think that's the key as well. Yeah, like big names. I mean, part of the Humble Bundle has been charities as well.
Yeah.
And frankly,
that didn't change with the THQ bundle.
Well, absolutely. If anything, you would have thought that greater attention means more attention for these charities, means potentially more money for these good causes. But also, I think. I mean, Humble Bundle have come out and said, because Ars Technica ran an article basically saying this is terrible, you've just sabotaged everything good that Humble Bundle stood for. And Humble Bundle come out and said, well, we're not abandoning indie games at all. We still want those indie bundles to be at the core of what Humble Bundle is. We just because they've experimented with books and soundtracks.
Yeah.
And now I think frankly that pay what you want is one of the most exciting ways of pricing your product at the moment.
Yeah,
it's a forward-thinking thing, and it's
not something that you can do all the time though, because you would make no money. But I agree. It gets people interested in buying the stuff. Like I say, it creates awareness, and therefore, really, what's the issue? Really?
Well, I guess the sort of long-standing issue is that pay what you want is going to become a major business model, but to do so, it has to become bigger than Humble Bundle. In the same way that crowdfunding needs to become bigger than Kickstarter. Like it's, with companies and publishers need to start doing this sort of thing on their own initiative. They need to start really embracing it on their own time. But currently, there's nothing wrong with a Humble Bundle putting a few games from a publisher who is currently incredibly humble themselves.
Yeah.
And worried and terrified. So even though most of the top donations have been from like THQ executives, it's a good idea, and it brings attention to everyone involved. It brings attention to the brand, it brings attention to THQ, brings attention to charities, brings money to everyone. And they haven't used the phrase indie at all. They haven't said it's an indie bundle. They've literally said it's a pay what you want bundle with some big games in it. I don't see that there's an issue here, in the same way that it's not like the EA indie bundle.
No.
There aren't. That was a very cynical move from EA. That was bad EA. But like the idea was fairly good. They just shouldn't have called it the indie bundle. But Humble Bundle are free to grow. They are free to do what they want, so long as they keep championing indie games, which is important.
Which is what they've said they'll do.
And they've said exactly, and they've said they'll continue to do that. And I have no doubt that they'll continue to do it. It's totally fine. And actually, you should probably buy that bundle.
Yeah,
you really should.
I agree that it needs to become bigger than the Humble Bundle brand. Like, pay what you want needs and we're seeing with sort of Indie Gala, and there've been a few other ones as well. But it's interesting that THQ didn't do this themselves.
Exactly, and that's what I'd like to see more publishers. And if a few publishers do embrace this sort of thing with well-priced DLC, and you see it in free to play with microtransactions, kind of. But this is a tremendously exciting pricing model that does make a lot of money on a big scale, as we're seeing at the moment. So yeah, publishers need to embrace this and just do it on their own initiative.
Because this is the thing. I mean, it made them $2 million really quickly, which, to be fair, isn't that much compared to what they lost in the last quarter, but is notable.
Yeah, well, they're in the hole for 50 mil.
Yeah, but suddenly their stocks went up by about 40%. Was it 40%? I think it was 40%.
Nearly 40%. Yeah.
So
pretty much overnight. In fact, literally overnight.
I think it's well timed on their part as well. With Company of Heroes 2 on the horizon.
Metro Last
Light. It's a good time to get people to remind people that THQ exists still. They've got some really good games out there. So I'm not entirely sure that Humble Bundle have deserved anywhere near as much of the critical backlash as they've gotten. But yes, moving on. Handbags this week, major handbags. We've had Free Radical running around an awful lot actually over the last year. Steve Ellis in particular, talking about X projects like Time Splitters, and Star Wars Battlefront 3.
Which was 99% complete, apparently. It was ready to go.
Depending on who you listen to.
Yeah, allegedly.
Because Ellis said 99%, and then...
this sort of anonymous ex-LucasArts staffer who, by what he said, seems to be probably quite high up in the pecking order, came out and basically said, Ellis has been talking bullshit. They finished 75% of it. They didn't hit any of their targets. It didn't test very well. It wasn't any fun to play. And he even said, I felt that Free Radical was akin to a Ponzi scheme where they were just like stealing our money. Then he said, they made Haze, and we were like, ooh, that game wasn't very good. Haze caused huge problems for Free Radical. Like, they had those problems with Time Splitters 4 as well. No publisher would touch them after Haze. But yeah, this is all from an anonymous source, and we've had lots of news and lots of sort of leaks from anonymous sources have come true over the years, have been completely on the mark from over the years. But it seems strange that whoever made these comments wasn't willing to put his name on it.
Yeah, well, I think it's almost become quite personal. In a way.
Yeah, and it seems like it's quite an angry little statement. Like, it does seem, and Ellis actually came back and said,
with an equally angry.
Well, he said from the personal tone of the comments, it's clear that this is someone who I personally knew and basically didn't like me and them and us. And then laid the blame directly on LucasArts again and said, it's their fault. And if it was our problem, why didn't they just get another developer on board and make one in the last, however many years?
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I suspect that the truth probably lies somewhere in between the two, to be honest. I can't see LucasArts canning a sequel to some really successful games and critically acclaimed games if it was 99% complete and ready to go and was testing brilliantly and was amazing. But on the other hand, we know that they've made some really shocking decisions over the years. So I suspect the truth is somewhere in the middle, but probably slightly weighted towards Ellis on this one. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah, although the mention, this is the horrible thing. The mention of the Ponzi scheme just suddenly brings up connotations of Silicon Knights.
Yeah.
So the fact is that now we know that happens. And it's sort of like, I hate that whole situation, because now that little niggling bit of doubt is always going to be there. So like, this has been a horrible thing for this industry.
Yeah, were they secretly diverting resources into Time Splitters 4?
We will never know.
We will definitely never know.
We'll never ever know. That's probably for the best. I don't even want to know, really. Like, just make me sad.
Yeah, that was embarrassing for everyone involved, and fantastic fun to pundit on and to follow. So hopefully we'll get some more angry comments soon.
Handbags always are. Like we love a bit of smack talk.
Do you know what we also like? We also like kind of big companies getting incredibly embarrassed and being shown up, which happened to Microsoft this week over the Killer Instinct. Oh, Microsoft said earlier this year that they totally had Killer Instinct they totally renewed that. Like we've done that. We got Killer Instinct, except that they haven't and they can't.
Because instead of sending out press releases, instead of like little sort of like leaking it to one of the larger sites, instead of anything like that, they said, do you know what? Literally, word for word, with all due respect to our friends in the media who like to frequent trademark sites, we thought we'd break this one ourselves. Smiley face. Our legal eagles have authorized us to say we have either renewed or refiled a trademark application in various jurisdictions for Killer Instinct.
Yeah, or refiled, I guess, being the operative word here. They filed the hell out of it. And unfortunately, apparently it's a television show. And people might get confused. People might get incredibly confused about the short-lived television show versus a completely different game, a game that came first. because this is how apparently literally the word confused was used several times in the sort of denial statement, because us gamers are really stupid, and it says, the mark's confusingly similar. Consumers are likely to be confused and mistakenly believe that a game is a TV show or some like that. That's a direct quote, kind of. And it's even more embarrassing because we've sort of been wondering whether or not Killer Instinct is that jaw-dropping rare title, haven't we?
It's definitely not now.
So it has to be called like Instinctual Killers or something. Instinct to kill. Lethal instinct.
Lethal instinct would work.
Lethal instinct.
Murderous instinct.
Yeah. Okay, that's
fatal instinct.
Fine, fatal instinct. All good names. Although then they might come back and say gamers are really stupid, so like they might get that mixed up with Fatal Attraction.
that would be a horrible crossover.
That would be, especially if it was Kinect powered and
controlling Michael Douglas. Yeah,
it is as jaw dropping as the CV's kind of suggested.
Fatal Attraction and Basic Instinct.
Yeah. Fatal Instinct.
Fatal Instinct. That no.
Or just basic attraction.
Powered by Kinect.
Better with Kinect.
Better with Kinect.
And then a Rancor with a Force person. Yeah.
Yes.
Go for the complete crossover, and yes, watch Matt cry.
That just sounds like a clusterfuck of failure.
It is. It is, Matt.
They could. They might as well just call it that. It's as good a name as we've suggested so far.
Clusterfuck failure. This kind of is though. I mean,
now it connects.
Like I can't believe that the fact that they came out and said, we've got something in the pipeline. Oh no, we really don't. Oh, we really don't because
all they'd have to do is change its name. It's what's in a name. It's a name. I mean, it's the name of a very important brand, and the whole thing rests on it being called Killer Instinct. But
this is the thing. Fans have been clamoring for a new Killer Instinct for decades. Like this is the thing.
But fans clamor for a lot of things, and we don't always get what we want. And fans don't always get what we want.
No, but if they wanted to please a large group of people rather quickly, the words "We are making a new Killer Instinct" would have instantly done that.
Well, now they can say we're making a new spiritual sequel.
New fatal basic attraction.
Exactly.
Brand new IP.
Exactly, pushing the bound. Yeah, exactly. That's a new potentially next gen IP for them. Brilliant.
It might work.
It might work. Yes, especially if they get Michael Douglas in to do some mocap for him.
Michael Douglas, Sharon Stone.
Yeah, Glenn Close.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Not with Connect. Not with
especially with Connect.
Never with Connect. So yeah, I mean, we speculated on whether this was in fact the jaw-dropping project. Frankly, I'm still holding out for a sort of Viva Pinata revival. I think that would suit Connect perfectly.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just a Viva Pinata that you can control with Connect.
Yeah, but like Microsoft, check that you've still got the trademark on that, just in case.
Because we're stupid and we might think that when we load up the game, we're supposed to get baseball bats, put on like blindfolds and just smack the shit out of our televisions. Like we're stupid. We're easily confused, apparently. So, that's a problem.
On the flip side, like a win this week, a win in terms of partnerships actually. Creative Assembly teaming up with Games Workshop.
Yeah, the Warhammer Fantasy Battles need a revival. There were some great games came out of that franchise back in the day. And yeah, who's better place to do it? Big pitched battles, loads and loads of units all colliding in a big overworld to fight for. That's what the Creative Assembly do.
That's what they do.
That's literally what they do.
Although they did send out one of the most pointless press releases this week. Like I didn't even write it up as news in the end because they sent out a release that said first playable faction announced for Rome Total War II, the Romans.
Oh yeah, apparently breaking news. You can in fact play as the Romans. I guess they titled it. They had to title it like that because what other title could they fit? Like you can play as the Romans in Rome Total War II. Roman in the Gloman in Roman. It was.
When in Rome.
I was quite interesting. I was like, ooh, who's this going to be? Is it going to be like the Vandals or the Goths or something? No.
The Visigoths.
The Visigoths. Nah, it's the Romans, mate.
So yeah, breaking bit of news has happened just as we've been recording this. Eurocom are no more.
Shame. It's always a shame to see a British studio get shuttered.
Especially with the tax cuts or tax breaks that are coming in. But they kind of had it coming, in all fairness.
Yeah, I mean, 007 Legends was bad, and regardless of who's to blame for that, and frankly, Eurocom have to take a bit of that themselves.
They really do.
They really do, sadly. You can blame Activision until the cows come home, but all they did was that deadline couldn't be changed. But yeah, that's a shame.
And I think, like, as much as you might... we don't know. As much as you might be able to blame Activision in terms of time and budget, those are things they can control. Legends seemed broken from a conceptual stage.
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
It's broken conceptually. It just completely butchers the source material. It's mechanically very awkward. It's the AI is terrible. It's all in the review. I've catalogued it all for you. Just convenience, I guess. Convenience and despair, I suppose. But yeah, it's, again, you're always as good as your last game. But they blamed a sort of major decline in the console market over the last few years, and maybe they have a point, except that people are making huge amounts of money from console sales still. and Activision are making huge amounts of money from console sales with other franchises. So, yeah, I'm sad to see them go, because they're a UK developer.
I mean, the games were never necessarily stellar, but sort of 6s rather than 4s. You know, the right side of that 5 mark. I mean, they helped out on the frankly excellent Dead Space Extraction. Visceral didn't lead on that, but they did help out on that. I really enjoyed 007 Nightfire. Even the Quantum of Solace tie-in was far too short, but really enjoyable in places.
Actually, the more I think about it, Nightfire was really good.
But yeah, it's always sad to see a British studio go.
But on the other hand, at least we have BioShock Infinite to look forward to, which is coming in February. Oh no, wait, it's been delayed to March.
That's kind of good news for Revengeance. I genuinely don't care.
Bad news for SimCity. But
yeah, I was going to say.
But you know what? Yeah, I've got to say, if it was a toss-up between BioShock Infinite and SimCity, and I only have the money for one, a situation that is almost certain to actually happen, I don't know. I think SimCity might edge it.
Yeah. At this point in time, it's SimCity.
I mean, I'm so up for Revengeance and like the 1 for 101 right now. It's not even funny, but yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to wait a bit longer for BioShock Infinite, and PS3 owners will have to wait a little bit longer to not get the original BioShock for free.
But this is the thing, like, we've got Dead Space 3 coming in the early part of next year. We've got Strike Suit Zero, which we're going to have much more up on site about in the coming week. There's Revengeance in February. There's SimCity. Do you know what? I am still excited for Infinite, but that gap really didn't do it any favors.
I wish it hadn't either it hadn't taken that sort of bit of time out, or hadn't started building up the hype train.
Yeah.
The hype train hadn't built up to that fever pitch back in the day. You know, it built up and up and up and up, and we were so ready, and then
the limp and sweaty noise.
Yeah. So yeah, and suddenly all that sort of pent up excitement suddenly became directionless. And
then captured by Maxis
completely. Yeah, exactly. And we just ended up imprinting on SimCity almost. And that's fine. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Really good. And we will be creating Dilsponia, and we will invite you to come and join us. Probably.
Yeah, once we've got our infrastructure down. Once we've got our residential homes sorted. Yep. Shotgun nut. You can make the rubbish town.
Is yours going to be like a swinging casino jungle?
No, I'm going to make I'm basically going to design the world's most impractical city in the shape of I don't know, like an animal from, like the raccoon from Animal Crossing or something. I'm just going to be having fun. I'm just going to make literally a city that's just a crazy road with like a little house in the middle to justify its existence. I can't wait to use that road stamping thing. Sort of drawing out roads. It's going to be wicked.
Yeah, just because we can. No straight roads at all. They're all going to be bendy.
Yep, it's going to be like a series of concentric rings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, right?
Like a bullseye, like a crosshair.
Like the Deals Pone logo, or the Deals Pony.
We could make a city in the shape of the Deals Pony.
Yeah, like in the middle.
Hell yeah.
It could be like the city that sort of hosts our one of our grand works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish we had some SimCity news to talk about this week, so we could make this bit of the Homecast relevant.
You see, this is exactly how SimCity replaced BioShock, because we used to shoehorn Infinite into things, like creating the BioShock Infinite award for BioShock Infinite for being BioShock Infinite, and now
it's still on course to win that award.
It is. But now we're finding any excuse at all to talk about SimCity, because Hail Dilsponia! And
the garbage town.
And Tobyton.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, I'm super excited. We're gonna squabble over who's gonna be the governor though. Like,
I think, but we'll all be working together. We'll all be the governator.
Yeah.
But mainly me.
As long as I have my little city, which his main export is hats, then I'll be happy.
Well, my city would be populated. Well, actually, John's city could be populated by the bald people who need your hats. My city could be populated with Afro people, with people with afros to help make your hats.
Yes.
From hair.
It all comes together.
Yeah, we're making afro wigs for your bald people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bald people.
You know, I don't want to play SimCity with you anymore. I don't.
It's the circle of life.
Circle of life.
It's a circle of human hair hats.
And then the bald people get happy and spend money in the Afro town. So then it all links up. All links up, and to make one glorious whole.
First of all, you're a glorious whole. Secondly, I'm basically going to be making Haythamtopia.
What would Haytham do in SimCity?
What Haytham would do in SimCity is just he'd just make the best city ever. Like, he'd make just the suavest, most coolest city of all time.
That's the thing, you know the
entrance. And then he'd climb up the outside of it in legendary ways and say some amazing one-liners and just be an amazing protagonist generally. He just like people, you get sort of crime elements from other cities driving in. He'd just leap on them from tall buildings and say like something amazing, something so cool that I couldn't possibly think of it, and just stab them, and everyone would cheer. And
in my dreams, why not? When you click on City Hall in Haytham Town, his face pops up and just says, "Haytham Kenway at your service," and it's just yes. And you'll see that on billboards, Haytham Kenway at your service. And it's just, you'll instantly feel relaxed and at ease. Unless you're a criminal, in which case you'll be going down. Because he'll jump on you, as you've said. Like, man, I'd feel safe. I'd feel safe and happy and energized and character.
Exactly. Character. I'd feel safe in those arms. I mean, I would enjoy some DLC based on him.
Plus, Haytham has a hat,
which we obviously bought from my house. There we go.
The best hat in the Assassin's Creed franchise.
Into our little ecosystem.
Yeah, Kenway hats, Kenway merchandise. That's what your satellite town's going to be doing. Yes.
Privateering, like a little bit.
Oh yeah, we'll have to be by the sea, obviously.
Yeah, obviously we'll need to be by a port. Yeah, like need some ships.
We're going to have just opera houses everywhere.
Yep.
Pretty much opera houses and like sort of.
Oh my god! Is our main export from Dilsponia going to be assassins, suave assassins with dapper hats?
Well, yes. Apparently, yes.
And I think on that bombshell,
only conclusion we could draw from this.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst. It's the worst of many conclusions we could have drawn.
I think that is the Dilspone top tip for the week, though. It's if you ever find yourself over the next week in a situation where you're finding yourself indecisive, just ask yourself, what would Haytham do? I think that's the key.
Yep. And if you ever find yourself playing Assassin's Creed 3, stop playing about 3 and a bit hours in.
Because then it'll be the best game for you.
Yep. And you'll think, God, that was really good. Rather than thinking, God, that was really long.
Ta-da!
So yeah, those are the tips. Those are the top tips. We'll catch you guys tomorrow for some Wii U goodness. And yeah, until then, bye-bye. Have a good Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.